Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of season 4. If you just joined, I'm Robyn of At a Tired Witch on Instagram, and I'm joined by the beautiful, sexy, and sensual Maria of Maria the Arcane on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. What an introduction. So we want to mention that we actually have a super fun class happening this month.
Yes.
It's going to be taught by Katie Webb, and it's going to be paranormal investigation using tarot.
Which is so cool.
Amazing. So cool.
I'm really excited for this class.
I am too. And that is going to be June 24th. So in a couple of weeks. So
yeah, so we'd love to see you there. Yeah, we'd love to see you there. It's going to be so cool. If you just joined us this week, every week we talk about upcoming lunar phases and how you can utilize them in your magical practice. This week we have another weird cusp like last week. Maria and I were just discussing that before recording. So the new moon is going to be on June 17th, which is the new moon in Gemini, or the new moon in Cancer, depending on where you're living, because it transfers over at what did you say, 4 in the morning?
Like the dark moon is at midnight. Oh gosh, when was it?
It's a really weird
17th.
cusp one, guys.
Yeah. It's at the dark moon's on the 17th, and then it switches over to Cancer when it's 0.1%.
But where I'm living, it is Gemini until 1 in the morning, and then it switches to Cancer. So it's still the dark, you know what I'm saying? It's, I don't know. It's a weird cusp, guys. So we're going to talk about both. So if you are somebody who has a moon app or similar and it tracks based off of your geographic location, that's the right word. Just listen for which one pertains to you. So if you are somebody who lives in the area where we've got the new moon in Gemini, this is a really good time to bring balance to your life, which I know that we might associate that with Libra typically, but the kind of balance that we see with the new moon in Gemini is doing things like encouraging you to earn more at your career or professional endeavors, and then applying that to the luxury side of your life. So that's the kind of balance we're seeing, where it's work and play kind of bringing to more balance, as opposed to other kinds of balances that one might have. With Gemini, it's a little bit more specific. So we're going to do things like focusing on spell work that is going to help us bring in more money with the intention of spending that money frivolously. I don't know. You know the word I'm trying to say.
I think the first time you got it right.
So this isn't I want to put more money in the bank to save. This is I really want to get those Taylor Swift tickets. So I'm going to do some spell work to get some overtime so that way I can go buy those $1 million tickets.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the new moon in Gemini is a great time to channel extroverted energy. If you're very introverted and you need to be extroverted, it's a great time to channel
this is a good
that
time for that.
extroverted wave. So
if you're somebody who lives in an area where the new moon is going to be in Cancer, first of all, congratulations, you're in the best moon of the entire year.
She's such a Cancer.
The new moon in Cancer is often one of rebirth themes around family and our emotional health. So this would be a really good time to do protection magic. Re-up your wards. That maybe is going to protect your family, especially if that family, let's say, is going off to summer school and you want to just make sure they're going to save. Maybe you're going to do some sigil work in their backpacks, or you have a partner who goes off to work every single day. Perhaps you're going to refresh your poppet for their protection. This is the kind of magic and time where we are focusing on just nurturing what we've already got. in our home, in our hearth, that kind of situation, and making sure that it continues to flourish and feel safe.
Yeah, I really, for Cancer moons, I love focusing on like home and hearth type things. I know hearth is like fire, but
on a really simple level, just doing some kitchen witchery.
Yeah, and then like doing a great home cleansing and like home blessing would be a great thing to do during this new moon.
I have this
for our
idea
box this month. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say for our magical beginning boxes, it's actually going to be that theme of home blessing. So it'll be perfect to do during the new moon. So
I had this idea, that came to me the other day. This is going to sound a little chaotic, but hear me out. Doing kitchen witchery, where those little iron fish for people that are anemic? Do have you ever seen those? You add them to like your soup pots and stuff, and it helps add iron to your food?
I believe so, yeah.
Imagine if you use one of those for protection magic in your kitchen witchery cooking.
That's a good idea.
Is that my biggest brain moment ever? Perhaps.
So, you anemic witches, you can do protection magic as you make your soup.
Yeah, like honestly, I don't know exactly how those things work. So like maybe do some research on it if it's safe to take if you're not anemic. I don't know how they work. But I just saw like an ad for it and I was like, oh, could you imagine? And then I did no further research on it from there. So this is not a medical endorsement. This is a little manic idea I had, and perhaps if it's something that you're interested in, you could Google it. Make sure it's safe, please, before ingesting this. I am not a doctor.
So, if you have just joined us for this episode or haven't listened to the other episodes so far this season, in lieu of choosing a card and discussing it like we were doing the previous seasons, we're just going off of like different sections in tarot, like we discussed the major arcana, the minor arcana, and what each suit generally represents. And now we're kind of like making our way through the ones, twos, and all of that. But anyways, this week we are discussing our thoughts on the fives. Woo. So we have reached the midpoint in the 1 through 10s.
Numerology.
And our journey from the aces. This is when we start seeing conflict. Things are taking a turn for the worst, and we experience loss and difficulties. For many of these cards, they show a make it or break it time, because when we are faced with adversity, we must decide if we are willing to keep going or dealing with the intense thoughts when it comes to giving up and sometimes giving into those thoughts. It's basically, we all ebb and flow through like certain areas of our life, and this card represents an ebb. So I will say though, a card like, let's say the 5 of Swords shows that giving up might be in our best interest. Sometimes fighting for something is a losing battle when there is someone or something in a position of power blocking your way. It is important though to remember that while we may let go of a certain path, it doesn't mean this idea of ours is completely over. They change and evolve. They give us better direction, help us cultivate better ideas, or even find an alternative path forward. Sometimes a path has to end for the true path to begin. And as I mentioned, loss plays a major role in a couple of these fives, such as the 5 of Cups and Pence. These cards really test us. While these cards show us methods on how to move forward, these are not happy cards, like in the slightest. To go through them is hard and difficult, even when we we choose to move forward with the methods being offered to us to help us. And, you know, sometimes we can cause our own moment of difficulty. And for me, we see this on the Five of Wands. For me, it shows our fear of really jumping into the thick of things or giving into the chaos of decision making rather than, you know, taking a step back to figure it out. So how do you view the fives in tarot, Robyn, dear?
I only have one thing to add to what you said. Fives, in my opinion, really bring up a conversation around power and the power we have within ourselves, but also the power that others hold over us. We see this really majorly in like the Five of Cups, for example, how there's this power in the previous person, feeling, emotion, or whatever that we're so focused on that we are not allowing ourselves to kind of look beyond that. We also see it in the Five of Swords with the power of knowing when to walk away from situations when we're not going to necessarily win. The Five of Wands, we have the power of like battle and fighting through, you know, our situations and the heads that we hit. And so I feel like this card in general is these cards, this number in general is a really big conversation around power. And not just the power, like I said, that we have within ourselves, but the power that other people hold over us, and how we kind of deal with that relationship.
Yeah. And I also feel like for many of the different suits, like we have been, you know, flowing and all that. And I feel like the fives is also like a smack of reality. You know, massively. Things aren't always going to go smoothly, even when it comes to like passions and things that we enjoy. Like there's always
things
going
that
to be that one
about.
thing I
we
can
have
avoid.
So much like love and fire for. Just because we care about it sometimes doesn't mean it's going to work out, no matter how hard we try. Sometimes like life hits us with unexpected things and it's hard. Yeah. So
I agree. Yeah.
It's these are a lot of fun one.
So this week we are starting a series of episodes on like witchy tools. And this week we are starting with cauldrons. Cauldrons like objects it is exciting. I'm so excited. But cauldrons or cauldron-like objects have been used in magic for a very long time to represent growth and propagation, like the perfect device to mix up some magic and give it life. Right? Yeah.
Cauldrons date back to the Bronze Ages and were originally not originally, they still get used this way. You can literally go to what is that like camping store that has the fish?
Oh gosh. Now
you know what I'm talking about?
Spot. I know what you're talking about.
It's
They're
Bass
everywhere
Pro Shop.
too.
That's what it is. It's
there
Bass
you
Pro
go.
Shop. You go places like that, they sell them. Camping cauldrons or like cooking pots that go over a fire. And traditionally these would have been at the hearth of the home and were used for cooking. Like as time went on, the cauldron then developed as this major fixture like of the house, representing things like safety, prosperity, the home itself, the family unit, gathering, etc. And therefore then, you know, magic came from that as well. Yeah. And like cauldron type things have been used for such a long time to symbolize women, the womb, and vaginas. It is important when looking at the history that it symbolizes just one of the parts of people coming together and creating something. Yes. Obviously now things have changed and evolved. Like people are very diverse. The binary has expanded. Exactly. You know, it's very diverse when it comes to gender and identity. AD. They're talking about things from 800 AD. They were not having these same conversations that we're having. Like, no. To them, you know, sex was magic. Like, they have sex and something was created. So they're like, magic, you know. But,
But as I said, like, Cauldron just represents at its core is cultivation and growth. Like, you don't have to stick with the binary system if it doesn't connect with you, even if it connects to other people, because there's some, you know, people who still connect with that, but you don't have to.
Yes, 1,000%.
But I think one of my favorite like tells about like cauldrons actually was Medea and her cauldron, like how she cut up like elderly lambs and like tossed them in her cauldron with some plants, and out they came young and new. And then she brought down a king by having his daughters do the same to him because he was like ill or something. I can't remember the story 100% because my brain doesn't work. But it did not bring him back to life. Like, this was her whole thing for vengeance. And I don't know. I really like that story. But
I learned something interesting because when we were looking up, or when we originally talked about discussing cauldrons today, obviously that put me down a full spiral of like looking into history that we didn't know about before. And something I found, and I could only find this a couple of places, so I don't know the full details on it. So I'm going to give the minute details I have, and I'm sorry that it's not a lot. But apparently some Celts use cauldrons for human sacrifice. Isn't that really interesting? Yeah, I don't know the exact.
That's like very Medea-ish, because I'm sure it was supposed to bring something.
Probably. Like, literally every source that talked about it, literally was like a one sentence thing. And I was like, but tell me more. What is the details here of the human sacrifice?
Guys, we really don't deal too much in Celtic magic, so.
Neither of us do. So this is an exciting detail for me that I sadly could not find more on. So if you actually know more about the human sacrifice, I would like to know, and you're free to email me. Oh my gosh.
But we could talk about some of the uses. Like, I think, you know, cauldrons and cauldron type things automatically, as you said, like make me think of kitchen witchery. You know, cauldrons were like one of the main things used to make food and brew up all types of things. You know, a cauldron simmering over like a fire is one of the most like home and hearth type imageries out there. And while that has changed because many of us have ovens, like the imagery is still just modernized. Like that is why I think it is important to talk about how a cauldron doesn't have to be a stereotypical like cast iron bronze globe type thing with a lip, like, you know, like we envision it to be, you know. In my opinion, like, I think anything that can be like the vessel that we can mix stuff up in can be a cauldron, like a pot, pan, the mortar part of the mortal and pestle, a cup, and I'm sure you get the idea. But honestly, there's no need to go out and buy that like $50 cauldron.
1,000%. You know those? Oh, what is that brand? Le Creuset? You know what I'm talking about? Is that how you say it? Le Creuset?
Oh, yeah.
Like the enamel pans that become like heirloom cooking like pots, right? I feel like that is a really, really good example of a modern day cauldron, because when we look at cauldrons through history, they were used for like generations, and they were repaired and continued to use. And so you didn't just like get a you weren't like, oh, you did not get a cauldron as like a wedding present, let's say, and then that was it, and then you used it till you died, and then that was like thrown in a trash pit or something. Like, these were like things that families used for generations, and when they got holes in them, they were repaired. And you see the same sort of thing in these heirloom cookwares nowadays, right? You get grandma's cast iron, you get your mom's Le Creuset Dutch oven. And so these are the same sort of things that have that kind of family love that's been cooked into and then passed on, etc. And I don't know, I think it's a nice homage to the same kind of energy.
Really anything that like is, you know, rounded and carry, like, you know, that you're growing. Like I even think a coffee cup could be a cauldron, because especially if you're, you know, doing with intention with the spell and stuff like that, because you're brewing this intention to come to life. And teacups, even bowls, like it doesn't even have to necessarily be fireproof, unless of course you're setting fire inside of it. Please make it fireproof. Let's not burn down our houses, witches.
Please use fire safety. I feel like the fire marshal. I'm like, let's not burn our house down.
Well, like every time I've posted like stuff where I say that, please don't burn your house down, I at least have one person who always comments on my post. It's like, one of my friends who are witches burned their house down by doing something like this. So,
oh my god,
this is why the warnings exist.
Please don't burn your house down. Come on, witches, get it together.
But what types of spell work do you do using your cauldron?
So for me, my cauldron is like the hearth of my altar. I use it for everything. I burn incense in it. I scry in it. If I'm doing any kind of like candle magic with chime candles, not any kind, but if it's like stuff that's for me and for my house and that sort of thing. And if I do it for other people too, it depends on the spell. I will attach my candles to the inside of my cauldron. I will burn things in it that like I'm trying to get away, like get rid of. I use it for everything. My cauldron is the fireplace of my altar. It is where all my magical gatherings occur.
I think like I even consider my money bowl like a cauldron, because it's like, you know,
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Because I keep adding to it and I want it to, you know, like grow and all that. And then I like, once again, not just like the stereotypical cauldron, but like simmer pots can be cauldron like things. And
totally.
Like, yeah. And making soups is one of my favorite pastimes of like cauldron like activity.
I wish my husband liked soup. I wish he liked soup, because then I would be soup. He's so boring. He hates soup. He's crazy.
Even if it's like lentil soup, like a delicious lentil soup.
Like hates lentil soup. He hates split pea soup. That's how evil he is.
Okay, so what you're telling me is you guys will be breaking up because he doesn't like soup.
I just make it anyway, and then he doesn't eat it. He goes, "Oh, I'm so full, babe. I'm so full. Like, this was so good. Thank you. I'm just like really full." And then like 30 minutes later, he's making a sandwich. At least he tries to spare my feelings, and he doesn't tell me that he's not going to eat it. He just like picks out the parts he will eat and then says he's full.
How lame.
He just doesn't like soup.
Now, in my cauldron, one of my favorite things to do is actually, I love making loose incense blends, and I actually add like a ton of my different blends on my Instagram. And so I just like throw a bunch of stuff in there. Well, I love like cleansing sticks, like, you know, it's easy just to light it and just go. But when you make your own like loose incense blend, you can kind of
so
like
much
put
better
it in the direction of where you want it to go. Like I just posted today I just want to chill incense blend basically. And I don't know. I love like putting all stuff together with intention, and it smells really amazing.
I prefer using them for incense and also making my own incense blends, because the older I get, those synthetic like incense sticks make me want to die. I get such a bad headache. And like you always see those ads that are like, oh, these are actually non-synthetic. And I light that shit and I'm like, you're lying, bitch. Like, you're lying. I'm getting a headache. You're a liar.
It just sucks.
It's just awful.
Yeah, I know that wild berry, I think, is synthetic, but the smoke is so good.
It depends on the scent. Any of the like blue or green bases Like they're always like ocean breeze or, you know, sea moss. They always are so nasty. I want to die.
They are.
I want to die.
I agree.
The sweet ones though, like king cake, strawberry, vanilla, like
Candy
those
cane.
ones are all, those are all fine. King cake is my favorite of all of their incense. If you're wanting to ever send me a package of incense, that's what I want. But the blue and green ones are so nasty. They're so bad. Or like the Nag Champa ones, like their specific one. Terrible. It's a headache on a stick.
It sucks. I love the Nag Champa one, but I can only use like one and only once in a while, or else I get a headache too. What was I gonna say? But how many cauldrons
we're getting so off topic.
Oh, I know.
Cauldrons.
How many cauldrons do you own?
Like, I don't know about that. And I think that much like tarot, I own one cauldron. I own a lot. I have this problem. Honey, if you're listening, don't. I have this problem where if we go thrift shopping and I find one that looks cool, I will just buy it. Even though I don't need it. So I've got like so many brass ones that I've gotten from like estate sales or, you know, yard sales that were definitely not, they were just decor. I think they're so cool. And then I've got two that are...
You can find them in the South, like when thrifting.
Oh my, you're just not looking in the right places, I'm sure.
I've looked.
I'm sure you're just not looking in the right places because you cannot tell me that these Southern biddies are not like getting their little spooky Halloween decor out.
Oh yeah, with plastic. And honestly, not many people in the South decorate
this is what
for
you're
Halloween.
doing wrong. This is what you're doing wrong, girl. You need to go to like Aunt Bertha, who was 95 and died.
Okay.
And you need to go to the really old estate sales, like for old people, not like somebody who like unfortunately passed in their 60s, like somebody who lived a full ass life, and go to their estate sale because I guarantee they're gonna have some old, like rusted bronze thing. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's where I find them. I never find them at like normal yard sales. It's always at like great Aunt Agatha's house, who was like 103.
103. I actually only own 3 cauldrons. So
wow.
Yeah.
How many do you use?
They're all in use right now. Like I have one of my money bowls is in a cauldron.
Oh, like, that's good. Yeah, that's so clever.
Yeah. It's a bronze one too. So
look at you.
And then I use one at my altar.
Correspondence, guys.
That's for flowers. It's kind of just for decoration. And then I have my big one, which I use for everything. So
yeah. I have so my big one I use for everything, and then I have a small one that I use for like home cleansing incense because it's small enough that it's easy to carry around, and I don't like feel like, I don't know what it is, but like, you know, the little handles that they give them, I'm always convinced that the big one's gonna like break.
Oh my, the handles on the cast iron cauldrons are terrible.
They're so bad. Whoa. So that's why I use the little one for like home cleansing, because I'm not so worried about it like breaking. For when I'm like, you know, going through the house with like a smoke cleansing.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it breaking, but like when you lift up the handle, the thing always catches and it won't lift. And they're terrible.
If you are a cauldron maker listening to this, please take notes.
Please take notes.
I got a bone to pick with you.
And apparently, if you want to send me some of those estate sale cauldrons, I will gladly.
I literally will. I actually we just had yard sale weekend here where we live, which is an annual event where we live in like a valley that has 5 towns, and everyone puts their yard sales out that weekend. So there's like a map that the valley makes, and you drive around and you go to all the art fields. It's so fun.
I've heard, like, some people think valleys are cauldrons. That's why you're finding cauldrons in the valley. Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I usually find a bunch of them, and I actually did a tweet, and I was saying, like, let's take bets on how many cauldrons I can find this weekend. And I only found one. It was one of those really big camping ones, like the 5-gallon camping ones.
Mm-hmm.
I would have bought it, but they wanted $172 for it, and I was like, be so fucking for real. Like, this rusted ass thing that if I were going to use it for camping, okay, which I wouldn't, but if I were, I'm going to have to, like, wire wool it and season it and, like, do all these things just to make it functioning because it's rusted as fuck.
Yeah, it is so much fun, though, like, going camping and bringing a cauldron and, like, making stuff in it, especially, you know, actually cooking and stuff in it, not just spell work. But it's, like, one of the most witchy-ass things ever, just being out in nature and just being like, haha, I am the witch of the woods.
That's
no,
so
you know
funny.
whose cauldron collection I'm jealous of?
Mara's?
Yes!
What a stinky bee. Every single time she brings out her cauldrons, I'm like, you bitch. Give me them now.
By the way, guys, we're talking about Marla Starling.
Yeah, Mara Starling. She's the author of Welsh Witchcraft. Why can't I talk today? And she has, like, these stacks of cauldrons. Have you ever seen The Black Cauldron? The movie The Black Cauldron?
Yeah.
It's like a Disney film, and they've got, like, stacks of cauldrons. Like, that's what her house reminds me of whenever I see the cauldrons in the background.
With trolls peeking out because she collects trolls too.
She's living the life I want to live.
The life.
Well, on that note, is there anything else about cauldrons that you feel our listeners should know?
No.
I can't think of anything.
Good. I know.
Yeah.
Like anything like that can hold liquid and can be have stuff brewed in has the potential of being a cauldron. So use your imagination. Have fun. Don't go out and spend $175 on that large cauldron unless you want to.
Or do it and then send it in my direction, but only after you've wire wooled it and seasoned it so that way I can use it. XOXO, Gossip Girl.
So, Robyn, what is stirring your cauldron this week? My screen glitched, okay? It went from like 0 to 5. I was like, what's going on? So I was waiting for like the timer to start.
Oh, that's so funny. Thank you so much for asking.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Actually, this week is so my friend Jessica. You guys probably know her from the What's Up Weirdo podcast. She has written a foreword for Volume 5 of the Feminine Macabre, which is a women's journal of all things strange and unusual. And I'm so excited about it. I already ordered it. I've already ordered it. It will be here next week. And I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to be so fun. And like, I know that like things during my cauldron typically aren't like shouting out projects and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I just think this, like, I've gotten a couple of their other volumes before, and it's been very cool and good. And I'm just really proud of my friend, and I think it's exciting.
That sounds amazing. So what is it?
So the Feminine Macabre, it's like a magazine kind of.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit more hearty than like your typical magazine. It's a journal, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like
it's like a zine,
kind of, yeah. And it's a little bit thicker. It's got a bunch of articles and short stories, that sort of thing, and it's kind of trying to highlight the feminine perspective of like the macabre, the occult, the paranormal, etc., which is a male-dominated field. And it's just, I don't know, I just think it's really exciting and cool, and
that does sound cool.
like it.
I love that. That's amazing.
I'm really excited to get it, and I'm so proud of Jess. So this is all very cool.
I'm gonna have to subscribe to that because that sounds amazing.
They're one-off things. You don't even have to subscribe. You can just buy each volume that you want to get. And hers literally was released today, so a couple of days before this airs. So it's very exciting.
I'm gonna get it. Yes.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Thank you.
And if you follow me on Twitter, I've shared it like 10 times, so go there.
Robyn's got you.
So, Maria, what's not stirring your cauldron this week?
Oh, I'm going to tell you. And it's going to be a rant. It's going to be wondrous and wonderful. Well, not wonderful, but yes, hear my rage. Anyways. So honestly, what is not stirring my cauldron is like all the anti-trans and queer propaganda right now happening everywhere. Like I call these types of things like hate fads, where like a group of people decide they hate a certain thing and they just attack it. They take like no time to understand it, and they just need something to direct their unhappiness at. It is easier to like blame a group of people for their unhappiness, lack of being able to be themselves, and the monsters hiding in their own lives, and to listen and open up their worlds a little bit. And I truly feel that like hate fads are like the new Roman gladiator type things. Many people love to see pain and suffering, and this is just a new way to scratch that itch in the modern age. But it is just it's just a scary time. Like I feel like I'm doing 10 times the protection spells lately to protect the people I love because I'm terrified for them. It just grinds my gears that I've spent my whole life as a cis woman protecting myself from cis men, and now cis men and women are the majority of people I worry about doing stuff to the people I love and still myself. It has never ever been trans people and queer people that I have felt the need to protect myself from through spell work or anything. And all this stuff feels just so misdirected and is stopping like real and meaningful change when it comes to actual harmful people and groomers. Like it makes me very angry.
I mean, I've said it once, I've said it a million times before. If Jesus came back tomorrow, these people would crucify him again.
Yeah.
It's like they've not even read their own book. Yeah, I think it's crazy, and I agree.
Yeah, but listeners,
I don't want to get too soapboxy on your square.
But listeners, we are here for you, and we hope that this is a safe space for you as a queer person. So
yes,
yeah, we have your backs.
And people who don't are. Oh, nope, I'm not going to say it.
You can stop listening to that now, those people.
I hope you die. If you were to get... that wouldn't be bad. Anyway.
Let's hope for better days. And and... We're doing protection spells for you.
Let's just hope that they channel this kind of energy into something actually productive, actually, stopping actual predators.
Maybe looking at Catholic
the school shootings, or what is it? It was 800 cases of child abuse in one state alone last year. I don't think it all happened last year, but the cases all came.
Yeah, and there's laws protecting churches against being in trouble for these things. So terrible. I mean, let's just concentrate on people who are already struggling and hurting and stuff, who are victims of violence all the time. Let's just concentrate on them because their lives can't be hard enough. Poor trans people. And
anyway,
I'm sorry. We love you. And I'm sorry for ending this.
Happy Pride. Happy Pride.
Yes. Happy Pride. Go throw a brick.
Yes. If you've just joined us this week, every week we talk about creators that we are loving right now. This can be social media, small businesses, books, podcasts, art, or any kind of thing that we are loving right now. So that being said, Maria, who are you loving right now?
So I am loving, okay, I want to start that I don't have this deck. Like, I've just seen it, but it's also $80 and I'm like, I want it really bad, but I can't justify it right now, but I want it because it's really cute. But it's the Silver Acorn Tarot and it's by Art of Stephanie, hopefully I don't say this last name wrong, Buscema. Mm-hmm. But it is so cute. It's an animal like Halloween deck because some of the characters have like pumpkin heads. It feels very over the garden wall if they went Disney, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah. But they are so cute and so beautiful. And I really want them. I'm just saying that if I find $80 just lying around, I will probably be like, a gift for me, like treat myself. Treat yourself. It is beautiful. It is stunning. But what you been loving?
So I just recently found this deck called the Earth Magic Tarot by Daniel Martin Diaz, and I need it. Actually, you'd think that this deck would have been something that Maria would have recommended because it's beige and black. But everything in it is kind of giving like medieval vibes, medieval artwork vibes. It's all like black line work, and it is friggin' stunning. I actually thought originally that it was what is that studio called?
Ulysses or what is it?
Uzi Studios. I thought this was something that they had done.
It does look like it, especially the leaf guy. Yeah. The leaf guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
maybe they have like
really
a very
cute.
similar printing press or something. I'm not certain, but it is stunning. I need it. I want it. I've got to have it. Give it to me.
I'm surprised that you like this one with it being black and beige, as you said.
Yeah, but it's also giving that like macabre feel, which we know I love. I love a simple line work macabre deck, and this is because it's giving that like medieval vibe. It's got a macabre sense to it, and I really like that.
Oh no, they do what that other brand does too, the Ulysses. The guidebook is sold separately.
Boo! I still want it. Also, this season, we have been doing listener submissions this year, recommendations from you guys. So, Maria, who's listener submission this week?
This is actually someone we had on the podcast, I think, the first season. Yes.
I think so, too. And if it wasn't the first season, it was like episode 2 of the second season.
Yeah. And we love her. So when we saw the user submitted thing, we're like, we have to mention Michelle. But her shop and platform is Twig Feather, and she sells teas, and she also talks all things plants and herbs and how you can use them for your health. And
she even does courses on herbalism.
Yeah. And I don't know. She's just an amazing and knowledgeable source about how to use plants for your health benefit. And I don't know. I could watch her stuff forever. And her teas are delicious. I can 100% say that because she sent me some sometimes. She had this coca. Oh gosh. I don't know. It was like, it definitely had cocoa nibs in it. And it was just so good. It tasted like healthy hot cocoa. It was so yummy.
That sounds really good.
Would get it again. I would pay a lot to get it because it is delicious. I went through it way too fast, though. I was like, but it was really good. So definitely check out her stuff and her goodies.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope that we will see you again on Friday, June 16th for our Coffee Talk episode, or June 23rd for our 12th episode of Season 4. You can keep an eye out on our social media or head to our website, coffeeandcauldrons.com, to find out more information and see what we're up to. And don't forget to join us on Patreon June 24th with Katie Webb on how to use tarot for paranormal investigation. This is available for the library tier and up, and if you miss it, it will be available immediately on Patreon via YouTube to watch at any future date.
And additionally, our Patreon Magical Beginnings offers our special 25-minute Part 2 episode, a huge library of articles about witchcraft, a Discord community full of fun events and discussions, and we even have a tier that offers one-on-one conversations with Robyn and myself.
Yeah. So please, if you are loving our sexy, sensual, just chef's kiss voices, take a moment to review us on whatever streaming service that you are tuning in from, such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We love reading your reviews, and rating us with 5 stars helps us to be seen by others. So thank you all very much who already have rated us, and for those of you who will in the future, we appreciate you very much.
So again, this is Coffee and Cauldrons
with Robyn from At a Tired Witch on Instagram.
And I'm Maria from @Maria_the_Arcane on Instagram. You ready?
She had no idea who she was.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Are you ready?
Yep.
I did actually. I know who I am. Thank you.
I do. Sometimes. I mean, I like to disassociate once in a while. So.
Once in a while, and that's fine. That's your right as a woman to do.
Thanks. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bye, witches.